It was a quiet night in the small town of Linton. The sky was clear, the stars shining bright. Most people were asleep. Only one boy was outside. Ryan, a 17-year-old student who loved to ride his bicycle at night. The roads were empty and the air was cool. Ryan liked the silenced dot as he turned into a forest path near his home. A sudden flash lit up the sky. It was red like fire and it came fast. Ryan stopped his bike and looked up. "Is that a shooting star?" he whispered, but it was not. The object was falling too fast and too close. Within seconds, it crashed into the forest ahead. The ground shook. A loud boom echoed through the trees. Birds flew away in panic. Ryan's heart began to race. Curious and a little scared, he rode his bike toward the crash. Smoke was rising above the trees. When he reached the spot, he saw a big hole in the ground. The grass was burned. Trees around were broken dot in the center of the crater. Something moved. Ryan hid behind a tree. He watched carefully. A strange metal pod was lying in the middle. It was silver, smooth, and glowing slightly. A hiss came from the pod. Then, with a soft sound, it opened. From inside, a girl stepped out. She looked about 18, like him, but very different. Her skin was pale, almost glowing in the dark. Her hair was silver, her eyes a bright purple. She was wearing a tight black suit, and her body looked weak. She fell to her knees. Ryan couldn't believe what he was seeing. Was this real? He slowly stepped forward. A stick cracked under his foot. The girl turned her head fast. Her eyes locked on his. "Who are you?" Ryan asked, his voice shaking. She looked confused. Where am I?" Her voice was soft, but strange. Her accent was not like anything Ryan had ever heard. "You're on Earth. Are you hurt?" he asked. She stood up slowly. "Earth, yes. This is the prison planet," she said, more to herself than to him. "Prison?" Ryan asked, now even more confused. She looked at him. "I was sent here as punishment." Before he could ask more, she fell again. Without thinking, Ryan ran to her. He helped her up. She was too light, like she didn't weigh much at all. "You need help." "Come with me," he said. She looked at him, uncertain. "Why are you helping me?" Ryan didn't know how to answer. "You just fell from the sky. I can't leave you here." She nodded slowly. Ryan put her on the back of his bike and started riding back. It was not easy, but somehow they made it to his house. His parents were away for the weekend, so the house was empty. He brought her to the guest room. She sat on the bed, looking around with wide eyes. "This is your home?" she asked. "Yeah, you can rest here," he said. "What's your name?" She hesitated. "Zyra. I'm Ryan." She touched the bed sheets, the lamp, the books. Everything seemed new to her. "You've never been to Earth before, huh?" Ryan said, trying to smile. Zyra looked at him. "I was a soldier. I broke the law. My leaders sent me here to live among humans. I don't know what happens next." Ryan sat down across from her. He didn't know what to say. This was crazy. She was clearly not human, but she looked lost, scared. "Why did they send you here?" he asked. Zyra looked down. "Because I said no to them." Suddenly she touched her head and winced in pain. "My memories? Something's missing." Ryan got up. "You should rest." She nodded again. "Thank you, Ryan." But what?" he asked. Zyra looked at the window. The night was calm outside, but her eyes were not calm. "They will come for me," she whispered. Ryan felt a chill in his bones. "Who?" Zyra didn't answer. Asterisk, the night after the crash was too quiet. Ryan sat on the edge of his bed, staring at the guest room door. Zyra was inside, sleeping, or trying to. The clock showed 3:08 a.m., but he couldn't sleep. How could he? A girl from space was in his house. She had fallen from the sky. She said she was punished and sent here. She had glowing eyes. She knew things no one on Earth should know. And she said they would come for her. Ryan stood up and walked to the kitchen. As he poured water into a glass, he heard a sound behind him. Soft footsteps. He turned. Zyra stood there, wearing a blanket around her shoulders. Her eyes were glowing faintly in the dark. You don't sleep much, do you? Ryan asked. I don't need sleep, she said. But I'm tired. Ryan gave her the glass of water. She held it carefully, looked at it, and asked, What? Is this? It's just water, he said, surprised. Don't you have water on your planet? She looked at him with a strange sadness. Yes, but not like this. She took a sip, then smiled for the first time. Cold, clean. There was silence between them. Then Ryan asked, Why did you really come here, Zyra? Zyra sat down. At the table. She placed the glass in front of her and looked at it as if it held a secret. I was a soldier on a planet called Zalara, she said slowly. We were trained to follow orders, no questions. Just mission, command, and result. Ryan sat across from her. One day, Zyra continued, I saw what they were doing, controlling people's minds, changing their thoughts. They used machines, hidden in towers. I tried to destroy one. Our hands were shaking. I succeeded, but they called me a traitor. Ryan leaned in. So, they sent you here. Alone? Zyra nodded. This planet is used for exile. It's far, old, quiet. They thought I'd disappear here. But you're not the only one here, are you? Ryan asked. Zyra's eyes flicked toward the window. The trees outside swayed. In the wind? No, she whispered. Others have been sent here before. Some were worse than me. Just then, a buzzing noise came from the living room. Ryan jumped up and ran to check. His phone was ringing, but the screen was just static. What the... he muttered. Zyra stepped into the room and looked at the phone. Her face turned pale. They're scanning the area, she said. They're close. Who? The people. Who sent you? No, hunters. They're not people. They find exiles like me. They don't take us back. They erase us. Ryan stared at her dot before he could speak. The lights flickered. Then everything went dark. A cold wind blew through the house, though the windows were shut. Ryan grabbed a flashlight and turned it on. Zyra was already moving toward the door. Wait, what are you doing? He asked. They'll search the crash site first, she said. I need to see what they left behind. I'm coming with you, Ryan said, already grabbing his jacket. Zyra paused. You're not afraid? Of course I am, Ryan said. But you don't know this world. I do. Zyra gave him a small nod. They walked together into the dark woods. The night felt heavier now, like something was watching them. When they reached the crater, Ryan noticed strange footprints in the dirt, not human. Big, clawed, and glowing faintly. They're here already, Zyra said. Ryan pointed at something shiny near the pod. What's that? Zyra rushed forward and picked it up. It was a small black device, like a stone with a glowing core. My tracker, she whispered. They activated it. She crushed it in her hand. It sparked and went dark. Now they'll... Search harder, she said, suddenly. A loud crack echoed through the forest. They both turned. In the trees stood a tall, thin shape. Eyes glowing green, metallic skin. No face. It didn't move. Zyra pulled Ryan behind her. Don't run. Don't speak. The figure tilted its head. Then it vanished, like smoke in the air. Ryan's breath caught in his throat. What was that? Zyra answered quietly. One of the hunters. The next morning the sun rose, but something felt wrong. Ryan stood by his window, staring at the quiet forest. The light was soft, golden, peaceful, but inside he felt heavy. His heart beat too fast. He could still hear the sound from last night. The crack in the trees, the green eyes in the dark. The way it just disappeared into nothing. Zyra had called it a hunter. Now, she was silent. He turned away from the window and walked to the guest room. The door was open. Zyra sat on the floor, cross-legged, eyes closed. She wasn't sleeping. She was breathing in a slow rhythm, like she was meditating. Around her, small objects floated in the air. A pencil, a spoon, a book. They spun slowly, like tiny moons. Ryan froze at the door. You doing that? He asked. Ira opened her eyes. The objects dropped to the floor. Yes, she said. It helps me remember. Remember what? Myself. Ryan stepped into the room. Can you tell me now? No more secrets? Zyra stood up. You won't? Understand. Try me. She looked at him for a long time. Then she walked to the window and pulled back the curtain. Your world is simple. Open skies. Green trees. Kind people. My world is made of lies. Ryan sat on the edge of the bed, listening carefully. I was born in a place called Sector 9. My real name is Zyra 47. We were raised like machines. We learned to fight before we could walk. Our teachers weren't people, they were programs. Cold voices, no feelings, no love. Her voice was flat, but her eyes burned. They trained us to be mind guards, protectors of the Royal Corps. But we weren't just guards. We were weapons. Ryan blinked. So, what went wrong? Zyra laughed once. Bitter, short. I felt something I wasn't supposed to. Doubt. I saw the Corps using mind control towers on innocent people. I saw them erase memories, turn families into slaves. I destroyed one tower. Ryan's hands clenched. That's not a crime. That's brave. She looked at him. To them, it was betrayal. I was arrested during sleep mode. No trial, no defense. Just exile. They didn't kill me because I know too much. Ryan leaned forward. Then why were the hundreds here last? Night? Zyra's face darkened. Because I wasn't supposed to survive the crash. A cold silence filled the room, Doc, then Zyra added. They sent me here to die quietly, but the pod didn't break. I lived. Now they'll try again. This time, they won't leave witnesses. Ryan stood up, his voice trembling. You mean me? Zyra looked at him with something soft in her eyes. Regret, maybe. I warned you to leave me. You didn't listen. He took a deep breath. I don't leave friends. She tilted her head. We're friends. Ryan shrugged. Are you going to vaporize me if I say yes? Zyra almost smiled. But the moment broke as the lights in the house blinked. Once, twice, then stayed. Ryan checked his phone. Still dead. Zyra walked to the door. They're scanning the house again. But it's daytime, Ryan said. They don't care. They don't sleep. Zyra reached into her suit and pulled out a small black cube. She placed it on the floor. With a low hum, it opened, projecting a hologram in the air. A map of. The town. One red dot blinked. What's that? Ryan asked. ZYR answered. A signal. Someone just accessed my crash pod. Someone human? I don't know. Then she looked at Ryan. You said you wanted the truth, she said. Now I'll show you. She reached out her hand. Ryan hesitated, then took it. Suddenly. His mind exploded with images. Planets burning. Silver ships flying through purple skies. A girl in a black suit running through fire. A medal. Cage falling from the sky. A glowing tower. Breaking in half. Ryan gasped and pulled his hand back. You can show memories? Zyra nodded. That's only a small part of what I can do. Ryan stared at her, now truly seeing her for what she was. Not just a girl from space, but a soldier, a rebel, a secret weapon, and something else. Human. In ways he couldn't explain. Zyra suddenly stepped closer. If I stay, more will die. If I leave, I die alone. Ryan swallowed. Then we find another way. Zyra blinked. You'd help me fight them? I don't even know how to fight, Ryan said, smiling nervously. But I know how to run. And think and trust. For the first time, Zyra smiled. Real, warm, tired. Then the front door exploded. Asterisk. The explosion wasn't fire. It was sound. Deep, low, and violent. Like thunder trapped in a room. The front door didn't break into pieces. It simply vanished. Gone. Ryan fell back, shielding his face. Dust floated in the air. Zyra stood still, eyes glowing bright violet. She had already raised her hand before. The dust could settle. In the doorway stood a figure. Not human. Tall. Almost 7 feet. Skin like dark metal. No face, only a smooth surface. No mouth, no eyes. Just a shifting red glow in the center of its head. It moved without walking. It glided across the floor. Zyra's voice was calm, but cold. Hunter 1. Class 0. They sent their best. Ryan backed away, trying to breathe. What does Class 0 mean? Zyra didn't blink. It doesn't miss. The hunter raised its arm. A strange weapon unfolded, like a machine made of bones and wires. It charged with a hiss before it fired. Zyra grabbed Ryan's hand and pulled him through the hallway. A beam of white-hot energy sliced through the wall behind them. The air itself screamed. Garage, Ryan shouted. There's a back exit. They ran. Zyra moved like water. Fast, smooth, never touching the floor for more than a second. Ryan tried to keep up, but fear made him clumsy. The house was falling apart behind them. Lights exploded. Walls cracked. The hunter didn't walk. It simply appeared. Always behind them, always silent. As they reached the garage, Zyra slammed her hand on the wall. A wave of blue energy pushed out from her palm. The garage door exploded open. Sunlight, fresh. Air. Freedom. They jumped out into the backyard. Just as the garage was ripped apart, they didn't stop running. They ran into the forest. Birds flew away. Trees blurred. Ryan's lungs burned. Zyra was glowing now, her energy rising, her powers activated. Ryan tripped and hit the ground hard. Zyra turned and held out her hand. Don't stop, she said. I can't. He gasped. The sound of metal scraping on trees came closer. Then a shadow moved among the branches. Fast, watching. More are coming, Zyra said. They always come in pairs. A second hunter dropped from the trees. This one slimmer, faster. Its body bent in strange angles, like it had no bones. It screeched. Zyra stepped forward. Stay down, she told Ryan. She pulled 2 thin rods from her suit and snapped them. They lit up, forming twin energy blades. The second hunter leapt forward. Zyra met it midair. The clash lit up the forest like lightning. Ryan could only watch. Zyra spinning. Blades flying, metal limbs crashing. Into trees. She fought like she was born for it. No fear? No hesitation. But she was outnumbered. The first hunter appeared again. Behind Ryan. Its arms stretched into long, sharp blades. It lunged. Suddenly, Zyra screamed, Ryan, DUPK. He dropped to the ground just as one blade flew over his head, cutting clean through a tree trunk. Zyra dashed forward and slammed both energy rods into the hunter's chest. Sparks exploded, but the hunter didn't fall. It staggered back, then reformed. Zyr turned pale. They've upgraded. Ryan crawled to her side. We can't fight them forever. We don't have to, she said. Just one more second. A small beep came from her wrist. She smiled. A sudden shockwave burst outward from her wristband, knocking both hunters back into the trees. She grabbed Ryan and whispered, Run. Now. They dashed deeper into the forest until they reached an old abandoned bunker. It was hidden under vines and moss. Zyra waved her hand over the metal door. It opened with a hiss. Inside, it was cold and dark. Safe? For now, they sat on the floor. Ryan's hands were shaking. Zyra was bleeding. Dark silver blood ran down her arm. You're hurt, he said. She looked at him. That doesn't matter. Yes, it does, Ryan snapped. You saved me. Twice. Zyra finally looked tired. You didn't have to come with me. You still can leave. Ryan shook his head. I'm not leaving. Not when they're trying to kill you. Zyra looked away. They're not just after me. The hunters, they've been sent to destroy anything that helps me. Ryan's chest tightened. So I'm a target now. She nodded slowly. You were the moment you pulled me out of that crater. Ryan stood and took a deep breath. Then we stop running, he said. We fight back. Zyra looked at him for a long moment, then reached into her suit and pulled out a strange, glowing chip. What's that? He asked. A key, she said, to something buried deep under this town. A ship, a weapon, and maybe a way home. Rain started to fall, not the soft kind. This was sharp, fast, Like the sky was angry dot inside the cold underground bunker. Ryan sat beside a glowing wall. Water dripped from his hair. His shirt was torn. His legs hurt from running, but his eyes were on Zyra. She stood in the center of the room, holding the glowing chip she had taken from her suit. A key, she had called it. It now floated in the air, spinning, projecting strange symbols on the walls. "Where are we?" Ryan asked. Zyra's voice was low. "This place is not human. Your planet didn't build it." Ryan frowned. "Then who did?" Zyra turned to him. "A long time ago, your world was visited, not for war. For storage, exiles like me. We were never the first." She stepped forward and placed her palm on the wall, with a soft hum. A part of the bunker shifted open, revealing a hidden chamber. Inside, an ancient alien control room, covered in dust. Strange machines lined the walls, dead and silent. In the center, a large chair surrounded by a circular console. It looked like a pilot's seat. Zyra spoke quietly. "This is my choice. Hide and be hunted, or awaken the ship buried under your town." Ryan stepped inside. He touched one of the machines. It was warm, alive. "But why now?" he asked. Zyra looked at him. "Because of you." Ryan blinked. "Me? You showed me something my world erased. Kindness, choice. On Zalara, we were programmed to obey. You make me want to decide for myself." Ryan smiled softly. "So let's fight together." Zyra's face darkened. "If we awaken the ship, the war comes here. Your home becomes a battlefield." Ryan's smile faded. "You still want to help me?" she asked. He nodded. "Yes, but not just to help you." Zyra tilted her head. "Then, why?" Ryan stepped closer. "Because you helped me too. Before you came, I was nobody. Just a quiet kid with a bike and boring dreams. You made my life matter." Zyra looked down at the chip in her hand. She closed her eyes and inserted it into the console. Nothing happened. Then the ground shook. Dot lights flared to life. The ceiling above them split open slowly, revealing a tunnel of metal leading upward. Zyra turned to Ryan. "The ship is waking." He stared at the glowing walls, amazed. "How big is it?" "Big enough to fight hunters. Small enough to escape." "This planet." Ryan looked at her. "You're still thinking about leaving?" Zyra nodded. "That was always the plan. If the ship flies, I survive." He was quiet for a long moment. "Will you take me with you?" he asked. Yara looked surprised. "You would leave your world?" He shrugged. "If staying means dying?" "Yeah." Before Zyra could answer, a loud alarm echoed through the chamber. Intruder detected. A screen lit up, showing a heat signal moving fast through the forest, toward the hidden door. Ryan's voice turned sharp. "How do they find us?" Zyra stepped toward the screen. "They're not hunters." She zoomed in. The face on the screen made Ryan's stomach twist. It was a man, in a black military uniform, wearing an earpiece. He was human. "Is that government?" Ryan asked. Zyra nodded. "They must have tracked your phone signal from earlier. You brought me here, but they followed you." Ryan looked stunned. Zyra walked over and placed a hand on his shoulder. "This is your moment, Ryan. Your choice. Stay hidden. Or stand with me." He looked into her eyes. Then he reached into the nearby locker and pulled out a metal case. Inside were strange gloves and a visor. Zyra smiled. "Those are neural tools. With them, you can link to the ship." "Only partly, but enough to fight." Ryan put them on. He felt a small spark in his brain. Not pain, just connection. "What do I do?" he asked. Zyra walked to the pilot seat. "Sit beside me," she said, "and don't blink." They sat together. The ship around them hummed louder, lights blinking faster. Screens showed blueprints of the town, forest, and 3 approaching heat signatures. 2 hunters, 1 human soldier. Azira placed her hand on Ryan's. "This is not just escape anymore. If we rise, we make a statement." Ryan looked at her. Then, "Let's fly." The earth trembled. Not from an earthquake, But from something awakening beneath it, the underground ship, once sleeping for centuries, now pulsed with energy. Its long-forgotten engines hummed like the growl of a beast waking from a deep. Angry dream. Inside, Zyra stood at the center of the control room, her hands glowing against the console. Her silver hair floated slightly, pulled by the power. Around her. Next to her, Ryan sat in a co-pilot seat. His fingers gripped the neural glove Zyra gave him. A small screen blinked in front of him. Shield system. Online. Target system. Linked. Human neural response. Estibularian took a deep breath. I'm just a kid with a bike, he whispered. Now I'm flying a spaceship. The air smiled without looking at him. You're more than that now. Suddenly, an alarm beeped. 3 figures had entered the outer chamber. One human, the man in the black uniform. A soldier, armed. Two alien hunters behind him. Their red eyes glowed like warning lights. Zyra's smile vanished. They're working together? I asked, shocked. Zyra nodded slowly. He made a deal. Our technology for their silence. But why? She looked at him. Because humans fear what they don't understand. And governments want what they can control. Above ground, clouds twisted like a spiral. People in the town noticed. Some stopped their cars. Some stared from windows. They didn't know that a ship the size of a stadium was rising slowly. Beneath their feet, just hidden under layers of old earth, tech, and trees, the wind howled louder. Back inside the ship, the soldier stepped forward. His voice echoed through the speakers. Zyra 47, you are ordered to surrender. Zyra's voice answered coldly. I already did once, not again. The hunters began charging their weapons. Zyra moved fast. She pressed 2 buttons on the console. Weapons deployed, shield armor ED unfolded around the ship's cockpit. Giant panels of energy clicked into place like armor. Ryan's eyes widened. This thing's a tank. Zyra nodded. No, this thing is war. The first energy blast hit them. The ship, but held firm. The outer walls glowed blue, deflecting the attack. Hold steady. Zyra said. Ryan watched as targeting reticles locked onto the hunters. Do I shoot? Yes. JYR hesitated. Just for a second. No, not yet. Let them come closer. Outside. The hunters ran forward, blades turning into whips of light. The soldier followed behind them, shouting into his radio. Ryan felt the ship heat up. The engine wanted to move. The whole structure shook beneath them. And then Zyra said it. We rise. The forest split open. Trees were thrown into the air as the ship blasted upward through the earth, revealing its full size. Black, smooth, alien, terrifying. The sound was deafening. People across the town looked up in shock as something impossible rose into the sky. The hunters jumped out. One landed on the ship's hull. The other flew using small anti-gravity discs. Zyra gritted her teeth. They're climbing the ship. They're going to try to breach the core. What do we do? Ryan asked. Zyra reached for the combat controls. We fight. From inside. Inside. The ship. Drones activated. Floating defense units with shields and lasers. They flew through open hatches, locking onto the hunters. Outside. In midair, the first hunter slashed a drone in half, but the second was hit by a blast and fell. Soldier, from the ground, fired a magnetic missile. It latched onto the ship's wing. Ryan saw it on the radar. Missile, left side. Zyra turned the ship sharply. The missile exploded, not with fire, but with EMP energy. The lights inside flickered. Systems down. Ryan shouted. ZYR placed both hands on the console and forced her energy into it. Her veins glowed. The ship responded to her will. Lights returned. Systems rebooted. You're part of the ship? Ryan asked, stunned. I was made for it, she said. But you complete it. Ryan felt the neural gloves tighten. The ship accepted him. He reached for the targeting system. They wanted war, he said. Let's give them a warning. Zyra nodded. Together, they fired a controlled pulse. Not to destroy, but to push. The blast hit the hunters like a wave. They were thrown back, crashing into the trees below. The soldier barely escaped, diving into a black vehicle and speeding off. Silence returned to the sky. The ship hovered above the forest. Proud. Alive. Awake. Inside, Zyra stood beside Ryan. You chose to fight, she said. Ryan looked at her. You gave me a reason to. She walked to the front window, staring into the clouds. They'll send more, she said. Stronger, smarter. Ryan stepped beside her. Then we'll be ready. She looked at him, her eyes no longer cold. We may not win, she said, but we'll try, he replied. Together. The sky was no longer blue dot above the clouds. Zyra's ship hovered in silence, alone, still glowing from the last battle. Below, the world was calm, but something was coming. Ryan could feel it. He stood at the front of the cockpit, staring out the window. Behind him, Zyra adjusted the controls. Her hands slower than usual. She was thinking, waiting, afraid, not of death, but of who might appear next. And then it happened. A thin crimson line appeared in the sky. Not a ship. Not a beam, a crack. Reality. Itself split open. Ryan stepped back. What is that? Zyra didn't answer. From the crack came a sound, not like a voice, but a memory. A song, soft and broken. Then she appeared. Floating out of the red light came a woman. Taller than Zyra, dressed in white armor that shimmered like ice. Her face was cold. Her eyes were deep violet. Her presence filled the sky. Zyra whispered, My sister. Ryan looked at her in shock. You have a sister? Zyra nodded. Her name is Veltra. She was the perfect one. The obedient one. The one who never said no. Veltra's voice echoed, without moving her lips. Zyra 47? You were warned. Your time is over. Zyra stepped forward, opening a channel. I survived the fall. I built something here. I will not kneel. Veltra raised her hand, and the sky darkened again. Behind her, 3 silver ships appeared. Sleek, silent, deadly. Ryan stepped closer to Zyra. We can't fight all of them. Zyra didn't answer, but Veltra spoke again. You are not here to fight. You are here to decide. Return. Accept memory wipe. Accept silence, or I destroy this world you love. The words hit harder than weapons. Zyra's hand shook. She's not bluffing, she said. Her power is real. Ryan looked at her. What are you going to do? Zyra stared at the console, at the glowing memory chip still inside. Then she looked at Ryan. You showed me I could choose. She turned to the screen. Let me show her too. Minutes later, Zyra floated out of the ship alone. She rose into the air until she faced Veltra, sister to sister, rebel to soldier. Veltra didn't blink. You look tired, she said. I am, Zyra replied. You could end it. No more running. No more pain. Zyra looked down at Earth Dot and she smiled. No more lies either. She reached into her chest and pulled out something glowing. Not a weapon, not a device. Her core dot the living energy that powered her strength. I give this to Earth, she said. She let it go. The core fell like a star, landing deep in the forest below, linking her life to this world. Veltra's eyes widened. You bound yourself to this planet. You can't leave now. I know, Zyra said. I'm not leaving them. Veltra raised her hand. A blinding light formed. Zyra didn't move. She waited. Then another voice cut through the air. Ryan's. Stop. He had come out, standing on the ship's upper hull. He didn't have weapons, only words. She's not your enemy anymore, Ryan said. She just wants to live. Here, with us. Veltra stared at him. You are just a human. Ryan smiled. That's what makes this world strong. A silence. Then Veltra slowly lowered her hand. You gave up your power, she said to Zyra. Zyra nodded. Veltra's voice softened. Then you are not my mission anymore. She turned away. The sky rippled behind her. The ships vanished. The crack. In the sky closed. She was gone. Back inside the ship, Zyra collapsed to the floor. Ryan caught her. You okay? He asked. She nodded weakly. I feel human. He smiled. That's not so bad. They sat on the floor of the ship. The screens dimmed. The engines went quiet. No more war. No more running. Weeks later, Zyra walked beside Ryan through the small town. She wore Earth clothes now. Her silver, hair tied back. Her eyes still glowed sometimes, but only when she laughed. People stared, but no one ran. Ryan's voice broke the silence. You think she'll come back? Zyra looked up at the sky. Maybe, but now I'm ready. E looked at her. For what? Zyra smiled. A second chance.